host. You could have been anywhere in the world, so we're glad you're here with us.
Facts.
I am Rocco Crisis, and right behind me,
it's your boy Say Major in the building.
E.
So his love, K. Corinne on the ones and twos.
And guess who it is? Your girl, she Chef H, aka Not Your Mama Punch.
Ow!
Cardi B gonna get me, y'all.
Yes, yes. Hey, you see we done flipped it up on y'all. Y'all see we done flipped it up on you, man. It is
That's
what
okay.
it is. We want to give y'all a little spin.
Cause we
You
here.
you did.
We here.
Before we get started, we would like y'all to like and subscribe.
Share.
Please.
Also.
Like, subscribe, and share, and let them know that you fuck with the what you on. And for all of y'all that's been following us from day one, hey, we love y'all for it, man. We
Thank you.
We stay
appreciate
dedicated
you.
through all types of storms and everything to
Facts.
make sure y'all get what y'all want from the what you on, because you know without y'all would be no us. So we appreciate you.
Lizards
man.
and lizards, we still
For
out
real,
here.
For real, I don't know about the lizards. You know, that's on the ladies' side. But they like lizards.
I don't like lizards.
Yeah, that's what you want. Say what you want.
A little bit more than lizards.
Like
I like snakes.
anacondas.
In the meanwhile, what is my podcast on all platforms?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
All
You can find us
platforms.
on Apple Music.
What
You
he
can find
said.
us on Spotify. You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us on several anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. We are there. Be there or be square.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So stay focused. We got a lot of things coming to y'all in the future, man. So stay positive, stay focused, man, and all y'all stay safe out there, man. It's a lot of things going on in the world today, and we want to, for us to bring y'all this little entertainment, man. We want y'all to understand. We want y'all to be safe out there. So, Misha, let us know what's on our itinerary for today.
Well, today Black History Month continues. We do have some definite current news for Black History Month. Like several Black people made history this month in 2021, so we're gonna talk about it.
Yes.
Also, we'll be talking about some things that Russell Wilson said. I personally love Russell Wilson and just the kind of man and father he is. So we're going to get into the step-parent scenarios and all the complications, but also all the benefits of that kind of situation. We're, of course, going to go over our news with Chef Keish, and then we'll end this thing with final thoughts, as per usual. Keish, what is in the news?
Oh, man, did she mention the can't make this shit up? Because I missed the can't make this. Did you mention the can't make this shit up?
No.
We gonna talk about how these folk out here scamming folks on the Social Security.
All right.
So that's the can't make this shit up segment.
The scam shit went to epic proportions.
Can't make this shit up about the can't make this shit up. But she forgot to mention the can't make
Can't
this
make
shit
this
up.
I can't make this shit up.
Well, she say it's the favorite part of the show.
Can't make up this shit up.
Well, go ahead, kick us off, Keith.
So today we have news coming out of Chester County, South Carolina.
That sound fucked up.
We have a set of twins burned with cigarettes, skull fractures, and fractured bodies, all done by their parents. The good thing is they're still alive.
I was just gonna say like
3 months old. One is still in critical condition. The one is not listed in critical condition anymore. The parents, they are being charged with 2 counts of inculcating, whatever the hell.
We had to look that up too.
Yeah, we definitely did.
That's teaching.
Great bodily harm to upon children. Which I feel like it should have been attempt murder, considering these are babies that are defenseless. They had old and fresh bite marks on their bodies.
3 months old now.
These came from the parents. My thing is, if you have to dislike your children to do something like that. So if you don't like them, the best thing to do is give them up to someone who can't have kids, who want kids, that would appreciate your kids more than you would.
That's where they're going right now anyway.
So, with that being said, I'm glad they got the mother and the father both on these charges, but these charges need to be upgraded.
Now, what I always say in situations like this is mental illness.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care how mad or irritated you are. No person in their right mind over the age of 6 is going to bite a newborn. So, I don't know if there needs to be some kind of procedure at a hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you leave this motherfucker with this baby, like, how do we make sure, not nothing too difficult that it's gonna bar a mother without money, or, you know, but something to make sure you in your right mind. You gotta be in your right mind for a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
They make you go through psychological analysis for the military, for the police department, for psychologist jobs. Why shouldn't you have to be in your right mind to be a parent, to leave this hospital with this vulnerable child?
Yeah, shit, postpartum is a real thing.
That's a real thing.
And that definitely could have been what they was going through.
True.
The husband and the wife.
Both of them together, though. They was doing this stuff together, which is a sad part. Not one parent, but both parents.
Then did we find out was both
Yeah, it was
biological parents?
both biological parents.
Damn.
Both biological
There
parents.
has to have been something wrong with them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, the mental illness, we people overlook it, but that's a real thing. When that bitch had that baby, that nurse was probably looking like, this bitch missing a screw.
I think mentally ill people actually find mentally ill people when it comes to like relationships and stuff
Oh,
like that.
definitely.
Because I've seen it that like they know they can.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I mean. That like
Crazy, no crazy.
yeah.
Crazy.
Because like okay, so I'm not being funny or nothing like that, but my cousin is a paranoid schizophrenic, and he met a lady. Like we like okay, something got to be wrong with her too, but you couldn't really tell. But like we knew he had an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like a big one. And she dealt with him for a long time. And it's like,
How could you be normal and deal with that?
exactly.
You may try,
Mm-hmm.
but the long term you can't. You're not gonna be able to do
Right.
it.
You
Yo,
know,
you crazy.
once you
Now
find-
you finna go crazy.
once
Trying
you-
to understand a crazy
Because once you
motherfucker.
find out he a nut, you be like, oh, I'm getting away from that nut. She stayed away.
Unless you a nut too.
Her name
You-
Stella.
What the fuck they say?
Man, what?
Stella.
Remember on
she
that
was
Chris
about
Rock
20
special?
years older than him, too.
Yeah, she was
The
way
dove?
Yeah, the lady was like 2 years older than him. Yeah. True shit.
Crazy mouth on.
Crazy.
Motherfucker.
Crazy lizard.
Hey, well, I tell you, boy, they got that. They put
She
you
stayed
Where you-
around.
Where you going with it?
Crazy people is good at relations.
I believe
I
it.
don't want to find
They're
out.
very
They
sexual.
are. They are very.
They're
Cause
very
no,
sexual.
they are very sexual. I'm in this group and the nigga always be in there saying some crazy shit. I'm like, he crazy. Then the conversation came up about booty eating, and he was like, well, I never met two things: a UFO and a woman who don't want her booty ate like the bottom of a pudding cup, while you flicker her clit with your thumb and put your other finger in there and then do the nipple with your right hand. Now, he crazy. No,
A
listen.
whole combination of shit.
That when he said he called it the 4 for 4 special. I was looking like, you say finger,
Right,
thumb, nipple, ass eat. Nigga, that's ain't
You
one.
like this?
I
Yeah,
know.
she said
Hey,
that
hey,
same
I'm like, this crazy motherfucker
word.
know what's going on. Cause I ain't never
Hey,
had no
do
shit
you
like that.
see where the
Wow.
winter home goes, Joe? You ain't see that coming, did you?
No, but I say that to say that every day I see him and that nigga looking crazy. But on this day, it was like all these comments on his like eyes, and we all know he's crazy. But bitches was like, so when you be doing that?
Hey,
Because they
This
very
nigga is
sexual.
we need to shout out that group. What group is that?
This group is called. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I need to know that group. Hey, cuz, add me. You know, you the group add. I need to know
Add
this group. I
me.
need to add me. I want to see this group.
Crazy
God
as hell.
damn.
Then I was like, you say,
Booty
yeah, I had to hit the screenshot, send it to my guy. Like, what you know about this?
So he like this.
Right, because it's really no, because this and this is one and the same.
Right, that's what I'm
Then
saying. He like
this,
this.
and then his mouth do the booty.
Oh,
And my mother was like, bro. Yeah, but I say that to say they're very sexual. Continue with the
They are.
conversation.
hold
They
on,
are
so
extremely
that's how you came back from conversation?
Huh?
That's how you came back?
No.
She said like that.
No.
She told me.
No.
That's
No.
right, that's right.
No.
Nigga died with the combination.
Whoa.
The phone.
Hey.
phone.
Dirty. Baby, I got the booty.
Oh, it's called Q's Boom Boom Room on Facebook. I don't even know who
Q's
Boom
Boom Room.
Buddy came through in a clutch. We was all like, but in that situation, it's not the ass eat, it's the 4 for 4.
Shout out to Imagine That. That's been a cool group, but I think Boom Boom got you beat right now.
Yeah, but yeah.
Boom Boom took you over, Imagine. But yeah, that's deep.
but we was talking about mental illness and how it impacts people having children.
But true story though, I firsthand experience with people with mental illness. I do know once they go into full blown illness stage, the main thing to go through the roof is their sexual. They get real heightened in their sexuality.
That's interesting.
They go into a whole full. It's something about that sends them over the top.
Do you remember when there was like a guy wearing overalls down south around uncalling them, and they didn't want him around no more, like a neighbor, but they was like he was mentally ill, but he had the needs and the body of a grown man, and that people started being scared of him. Like, what might you do?
No, I don't know what it was, but
I was like
a lot of older men down there wore overalls.
She said,
but mentally ill and living somewhere on a family property.
A lot of them was mentally ill too. The only one
she said,
I can think of a couple.
Did you see 300 when they said that them ghoulish looking things had the needs of men? On 300, remember, like, you had to go to the council and ask them to go to war, and it was like they had the needs of men and souls black as hell.
Yeah,
they was fucking the oracles. That's my movie. Never mind.
No, never mind. Now you want to make me go back and watch it because them oracles was hideous. So
No. The oracles was the beautiful women who they would put the spells
on.
Yeah, and they was like that they beauty was their gift and they curse because they become
so the oracles was knocking down the oracles. So the ugly things was hitting the pretty things, and the pretty things was cool with it.
They was like in some kind of trance. And
from the ugly things.
Because they was some kind of mystical beast. So they was able to put the women in the trance and take advantage of
knock them down and then bring them out.
And it was like their beauty is their curse.
Sound like Bill Cosby.
But not,
he was putting them on the
ugly like that though. Like they had boils on their faces.
I know, but he was putting the mystical stuff in their drinks.
Why would they want it?
Some of them did. I'm just teasing. It fits scenario. But he was definitely putting the mystical powder in their drink. The ha.
What was that laugh he used to do?
That was that I'm finna get you laugh.
Your ass gonna be caught up in the sauce. Yeah. The Cosby pudding cup sauce.
Hell yeah.
I refuse to let y'all talk about my favorite television show.
He was my favorite too. And
different world.
He raised a lot of kids watching. He raised a lot of kids watching the Cosby Show. There's a lot of us.
And different world.
I'm teasing what I was saying, but I'm like y'all. I didn't even want to follow a lot of that stuff that happened because I didn't want my perception skewed of my child.
Did you see when Dave Chappelle spoke on it?
That hurt me, man.
Dave Chappelle was like, he's a rapist, but then Dave Chappelle hit them stats like he put more black kids through college than anybody else. He did this, he did that. Not saying that the claims against him are false, but Dave Chappelle like put it all on the line like, no, that nigga was goated.
All of my childhood was precious to me.
Janice Dickinson, ugly ass, was one of the main ones that said he did.
I know, right?
But then she turned around and recanted her story and said she lied. So
did she now?
Yeah.
And Miss Trinidad said that he did something to her.
Janet Dixon ugly as hell. You know, Bill Cosby gotta take shit from nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Janet Dixon
ugly as hell.
White bitch.
Terrible. When she was young, she was something.
Actually, but Miss Trinidad, what's Miss Trinidad's real name?
No idea.
From Martin, she was seducing him. She used to be his teacher.
Yeah, I know.
And then
Gina
called
her real
him.
name though. But I remember
Miss Trinidad. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, her name was Miss Trinidad on the show, but that's not Iman. That's somebody else. That bitch was on Kid and Play movie getting him out the money.
True. I remember that.
You remember what's her name? But I don't know. She had a fold in the cover of Vogue. That bitch ain't been on the magazine since the 80s because she was telling her story about Bill Cosby. Look at that platform she got. You a 60-year-old model, you on the cover of Vogue because you like, he got me too. But in her story, he didn't get her. He almost got her, and she ran down at the end.
I think everybody jumped on the bandwagon of trying to take down the powerful black man. So
especially when you're trying to buy a network, that's what they gonna do.
I think a lot of that shit probably wasn't even true.
I mean, it didn't come out until after he tried to buy NBC.
Exactly.
He tried to buy NBC. It was like, oh,
because I heard the first time he tried to buy it, they killed his son. Found his son like
suicide.
He found the son like being on the side of the
road.
No, they said it was suicide.
Right.
On the side of the road.
Yeah, they said that he committed suicide.
But that was after the first time. That was after He tried to buy it the first time. And he came back and tried to do that shit again. Now he in jail for some shit. Because in the 70s, wasn't nobody doping nobody up for shit. Everybody was doing lines off each other's lines. Putting the
Period. Them motherfuckers off the shrooms, the acid. Motherfuckers was taking trips and never coming back. That shit was common as hell during that time. So, and that's what they said at first. They said like, well, he said he supplied them with. But that does not mean without their knowledge.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole shit, like they didn't know what was going on. That was later.
They knew exactly what was going on. Because back in them damn days, they were so motherfucking rich. They didn't know what the fuck.
You know who said that also? Who? The bitch off Misery. They had hit Buddy in the ankles. What's her real name? What's her real name? Y'all know.
I forgot her name. I know exactly what you're talking about. That crazy ass.
She was like, in my day, when you went to a man, and I'm not saying, hey, I'm all for women's rights. I'm all for a woman's right to say no at the last second or even during. But she said, she was like, in my day, we didn't have all this shit. They was like, why y'all didn't have it? She said, because in my day, when you went to a man's hotel room, you knew why you was going.
Exactly.
And she had, they was mad as fuck at her for saying that.
The thing is, though, it's true still now. Because who goes to a hotel?
See what happened to Wendy.
What happened to Wendy?
I tell you, oh my God.
Nah, facts. She went to the hotel room. Shit, she gave it up.
Who is Wendy?
Wendy Williams.
What hotel she went to? Remember that?
Nah, the other rapper that raped her the first time when she was on the small radio show.
I told her she could see herself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember which rapper that was either.
Got his name.
Hold on. But yeah, I looked it up. Yeah, he was murdered.
On the side of the road. I'm like, what kind of suicide?
Initially they said it was suicide that he shot himself. But now they're saying that he was murdered.
But why would they even say that?
Mikhail Markasev. And he apologized to the family, man. He withdrew all of his appeals and said he wanted to take it.
Why did he say he killed him?
It didn't say why.
Of course it ain't gonna say why.
It says in a robbery though.
You know what's messed up?
He was on the side,
that guy,
side of the road, kind of like what happened with Michael Jordan.
It's his name, Brian Gumble, the powerful media billionaire.
Brian Gumble?
Brian Gumble.
That is correct.
Brian Gumble?
He owns
the sports. No, for HBO Sports.
He started that
and
show.
his brother Greg Gumble? Yeah.
But he owned a whole bunch of shit though.
That's not
he
how I know.
Weather.com and a whole bunch of other like networks.
I thought no.
Is that his name, Brian Gumble?
No. It's a comedian that owns the Weather Channel. Black comedian used to have his own show.
He said weather.com though.
I think that is Brian Gumble.
I'm like, that nigga done became the man.
It ain't Brian Gumble.
Next thing you know, Stephen A. Smith gonna have some shit.
Ain't no telling shit. He probably got something.
How old is he?
Probably in his 50s.
It's Byron Allen.
Byron Allen.
Byron Allen owns the Weather Channel.
Oh,
because he was a comedian. You know, he started as a comedian. Also was following in the footsteps of Bill Cosby. He ended up.
I didn't know that.
I wonder why he didn't partner with him or kind of walk in his footsteps after Bill got knocked up, because he got the capacity and the money to buy it.
Because they don't want no nigga to own it.
But he got the capacity to own all of it.
That's all it is to it. That's why Bill Cosby sitting in jail.
Because remember, the Blackish writers had got into trouble with some shit. They did like the show was called Blackish. I mean, they trying to come and present things from a black perspective. How the fuck can they get in trouble for presenting that perspective? It was several shows they had.
And the writers was black.
That they bring into.
How you gonna trip on me for giving you a story about my perspective growing up?
And I still feel like they kind of whitewash Blackish to a certain extent.
It was on ABC.
Of course. But on that note, because we done talked about 35 things in about 10 minutes. So as far as the segment that I can't make up that I fucking forgot, can't make this shit up. Rocco, what's with it?
People, how many of y'all out there be getting them spam calls like crazy every single day? What's ironic is these mods can call me today on the way out to the podcast talking about my social security number is inactive because it's some fraudulent activity on it and them people mad. They say criminals, hold on a second, the phone went berserk because these folks don't want me to do it. But it says it has been up to $45 million lost by Americans to this scam. They said that these people call people, man, and what they do is they tell them that their Social Security has been used to do illegal things. It has been used up to an amount that's astronomical. And beyond that, what ends up happening is they want you to pay some type of restitution to fix it. Now, what's amazing to me is if you're a whole American citizen, you don't know how the Social Security number works.
Right.
Not just that, you're a whole American citizen. You don't understand how Social Security operates. You literally paying these dudes. And I swear to God, every time they call me, there is nobody on the phone from America.
Nope.
Every time I get a call from somebody with an Indian accent.
Well, they got a lot of that going on. They
somebody from Middle Eastern.
They get you the tax scam, the financial judgment. You got to go to jail. You need to pay this amount. They got a whole bunch of scams.
Man, they got a bunch. I get a call daily. Social Security. Then it's insurance. Then they calling me about home alarm system. They calling me about solar system, the solar panels that go on your house. Like, they have so many hustles that they call and try to hit you with. They figure some got to slide through the cracks. Every day they call and harass me, so I start entertaining it.
All right.
I started entertaining it. When they call me, you're going to waste my time and interrupt my motion. I'm finna entertain the bull. I'm finna go ahead and follow in with your script. So the mom called me, tell me my Social Security number's deactivated. They got $2.3 million under my Social Security number. It's also been used in that money that $2.3 million was used to buy drugs and been issuing drugs throughout the whole border, the southern border of
with
the
the
United
cartel.
States, with the cartel.
Oh boy!
And I'm like, really? They did that to me? My social? So what do I have to do? I listened to these people for 20 minutes explaining to me how $2.3 million got took out of my Social Security benefits, and these motherfuckers won't even give me money for a motherfucking used car. But you got $2.3 million off my social, and ain't nobody cut them off. Not just that, ain't nobody came to my house if it's used in some drugs. I'm like, my question to him was, it was used in drugs? They got $2.3 million, and they used it for illegal activity, and all I got was a call from you?
Right.
Nobody showed up at my door?
The people should have been
I asked the man, I'm like,
the feds and the federales.
Did you say the federales?
I told dude I listened to him for 20 minutes and I entertained the bullshit, then I had to talk to him real hard. I said, look at Playboy. I'm from Chicago, man. I know that sounds real good, but hey, man, I ain't how to get out. I ain't finna go off that, man. Hey, man, I sit here and listen to that bullshit. I said, let me explain it to you, man. I know it's a game, and I know you probably getting a lot of folks, but you ain't getting me with that, man. I said $2.3 million. I said, you know, I'm a whole black man in America. They ain't giving me 2.3 nothing.
Right.
Let alone 2.3 million.
They don't want to give you
2.3 million?
2.3 hours in the joint.
And all I'm getting is a call and ain't nobody kicking my door in? Get your goof ass off my phone.
Remember before that you was like kind of suspicious when it was clear that it was a call from overseas. But I feel like they've already found a way to combat that because now they send text messages. 2 days ago, I get a text telling me my Apple ID has been compromised. I was
they called me and said that to me.
Did they?
So listen,
the text, you don't hear nothing.
Listen, so they called me and I listened to it. I hung up on them. I Googled the phone number and they came up the Apple phone number. I called Apple back. Mm-hmm. Apple was like, nah, we ain't gonna call you unless you call us first. Because I do have even though I have an Android, but I do own a iPad.
You know how I knew it was bullshit? So when you go on there to prove your Apple ID, at first it's like, what's your name and your phone number? I'm like, this is me right here. The second page asks for your social. And that's just like that's all
red flag.
Like, my Apple ID is made with my email address.
Tell their ass in a minute, man. How you gonna call me and ask me my information? You call me, tell me what you got, and I tell you right. Motherfucker, you tell me who you looking for, what information you got, I tell you got the right motherfucker.
I'm telling you, don't open up any banking, telling you don't open up your banking shit on your phone and shit like that. Yeah, that was crazy. I was like,
they showed him my ass. I was like, yeah, and I was going along like, yeah, I ain't been able to
Yeah, all
this
that
shit
shit
like
that come through your phone, you ain't supposed to click on no links.
none of that.
Man.
Chase sent me a thing saying that yeah, this is the link, blah 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 blah. And so I screenshot and I sent it to my mama. My mom was like, don't open that. I was like, she was like, you ain't even got Chase. I was like, you telling me?
Hey, these folks be on that, Joe. Like
Mama
they be on it hard. They hustle game is strong.
Right. That's
I
money.
be knocking their ass down too. I be fucking with them. I be on it. I be walking through the store, grocery shopping. One time they told me I had won some money from Publishers Clearinghouse.
Hey, listen. They asked you, do you want us to come to your house or do you want to record it or not record it? And then they tell you to send them some money so you can get your money. I say, if I won it, why would I pay you?
Why would I pay you?
Why you just can't take it out the money that you bring it to me?
That's exactly what I told.
Man, them Africans, listen, it was some dang on Nigerians or something that called me. They called me for about an hour, cussing me out. I'm like, nah, I know y'all ain't Publisher Clearinghouse. That man white.
I'm finna entertain it though. I'm finna entertain it. I had these people on the
crazy.
phone for some hours. They wanted me to go to Walmart, get a green dot card, put some money on the green dot card, then give them the number off the green dot card.
What?
They told me, we are right around the corner from your house. All you have to do is give us the number off the card. I was like, really? You're like right around the corner? Like right around the corner? So if I go get in my car and I drive around the corner,
I'm gonna see you around the
they
corner.
said, no, you can't do it. They got a whole bunch of balloons. You're gonna ruin the surprise. You've seen how Publishers Clearinghouse do it. I'm like,
so Publishers Clearinghouse is a big ass scam in itself.
I told him, I said, look, no, it's not.
No,
They're using Publishers Publishers Clearinghouse will come to your house. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna call you ahead of time. They're gonna come back. They're gonna surprise you. That's how they work. And they ain't asking for nothing. They just gonna show up and give it to you. So when dudes tell me that, I literally had these dudes on the phone.
No, that's from Star Search, ain't it?
No, Ed McMahon. Ain't that the one who
Yeah,
bring
he's
the
the
money
one
to
who
your house?
published Clearinghouse.
Who do Star Search?
That's Ed McMahon too.
Oh, I thought that was him.
Ed was a hustler.
People gotta start recording these conversations because that shit gotta be illegal.
Illegal. Like, I ain't just gonna hang up on you. I wanna prosecute you.
I used to work.
It's gotta be a way that they oversee. They gotta, because now they call them from Illinois now.
All type of numbers. They cell phone numbers. All type of shit.
It's called local number. Like, I used to work in a call center, and you know, you come up as 800. But instead of dialing from the computer, just hitting auto dial, you go to your real phone and you put in a code so that it comes up as an area code that's in that area. Instead of the answer.
Listen, so when I used to work at the cleaners, a guy called me from ComEd saying that the lights is about to be shut off in 45 minutes. I said, really? He was like, yeah, the lights is going to be cut off in 45 minutes. You got to pay this bill. This bill is $1,592 and some change. He's like, what we need you to do is don't use your bank account. Don't use this. We just need you to go and get, what he tell me, go get the money or no. He told me to fill a card. Go fill a card and then just pay it with that card. But I can't use my bank account to pay it because it's going to take too long for them to get the money. I said, that's strange, because I always pay my light bill with my account. So he was like, no, but it's going to take too long if you do it that way. He was like, it's not going to go through. I was like, oh, okay. Then he said, what did he say? So you got 45 minutes to do that. I was like, I got a question for you, though. He said, what's that? I said, when come in and start calling and tell people they're going to turn their lights off. Because they don't do that.
Sure don't.
And I was like, well, why you got so many people in your background? Because when I call ComEd, I don't hear nobody but the person I'm talking to. I said, you full of shit. He tell me, bitch. I said, I know this ain't ComEd.
Yeah. I've had them literally tell me after I had them on.
I had to
be like, fuck you.
I had to call.
I'm like, bro,
I had to
cuss me out of your language.
I had to call my boss and let him know that these people were trying to scam his store. So don't go and pay a light bill, because he was an older guy. Well, he's still living. He's like 90 now, but at that time he was like 85 or 86 or something like that. He's older. So I had to call him and let him know, because by him being older, he's not aware of scams and stuff like that. You know, not up on it like the people, like us younger ones are up on the stuff. So he was like, they did that, Keisha. I'm like, yeah. He said they called here and told me I had to pay a bill over here, because I opened up with no. I
They be
said,
getting a lot of old folks.
They get a lot of
Now,
old
real
people.
talk, elderlies be getting smacked.
Yeah, they get them bad
They
because they
be
don't know.
smacking the elderly. One of my patients, they conned this woman out of all of her life savings, man. That woman she lost her house, she lost everything. They conned that woman so hard. So
But they ain't gonna have no damn luck. They karma is gonna be shit.
I always
care
say
about
that.
karma, they care about dollars.
Yeah.
They don't believe in that anyway. Over there. You know, it is what it is.
Right.
So
So on a lighter note, we're gonna introduce the month
Yay!
that is us. So the first thing we're gonna hit y'all with is Dr. Michael Obang. You don't know that?
Martin Luther King. Oh.
Dr. Michael Obang. If you don't know the name, think about the Glue Be Gone girl. This is the man who created the chemical compound, the slide glue. What'd I say? Shit. Gorilla Glue. All that sticky shit be the same in some instances.
Glue be gone.
she know about sticky shit.
So basically, I don't know if you know, but the young woman's name was Tessica Brown. If you don't know, the Gorilla Glue girl's name is Tessica Brown, not Jessica, Tessica with a T. So there was this brilliant African doctor, I believe he's of Nigerian descent.
And he's in LA.
In LA, and he came up with a compound to literally, if you see the pictures, it's like it slid out of her hair like jelly. It broke down and released fully. She didn't lose none of her edges.
Thank you, God.
No one knew that this actually existed until he was able to do it. It's like damn near open heart surgery, which was also done by a black man for the first time.
Yeah.
But big ups to you, Dr. Michael Obang. You did your motherfucking thing.
Kudos.
He gonna get paid. You know what? The people that make Gorilla Glue should go buy his formula just in case.
Something like that happens.
Right.
Because when she go wrong, they tell you to call. They tell you to call poison control. But like instead of calling poison control, now they can have their own like shit they sell. Yeah, because they partner with him.
And now they got some stupid ass white girl in there to put this shit in her hair. And I opened up her GoFundMe and somebody gave her $3,000.
Yeah, how much did it touch?
Listen, I need to get me a GoFundMe. But what am I gonna say?
Did you say a GoFundMe?
A GoFundMe.
I thought you said a GoFundMe.
I don't know what to say I need.
What's it doing with your hair?
Well, no, I need my hair.
Oh, okay.
I can't roll the dice. But I seen somebody say go fund my Bentley. And people was giving. So he could have a Bentley. I would like a Lexus
She
truck.
got 23,913.
Woo!
Yeah, she said she gonna donate the money.
Jessica got that?
Mhm.
Jessica Brown.
She said she gonna donate the money, which is a good thing to. I forgot what she said she gonna donate.
How much of it?
How I was just
She said 20,000.
I was gonna say how much.
She said 20,000. So I guess she'll get the other 3.
Going in her pocket.
Yeah, but no, Michael Obang, you goated. You made Black History in Black History Month because we ain't always gotta go back to the past. Because black people doing some boss ass shit.
You
right now.
a hero to us, Doc.
That's a true story.
That's a fact. We ain't gotta wait. No, honor the ancestors.
Bang!
On Bang.
So recognize it's gonna be some young hip hop artists gonna be coming out with the Obang track.
Man,
so,
you already know it's
you
gonna
know
be
they
some
gonna be
lyrics
dropping
like,
out
and I
some
get the
Obang.
gorilla glue out like, oh, bang.
I get the
Hey,
hey,
you know they gonna do it.
Yeah,
Somebody
you know
gonna
it's
work it
happening.
into
It's
a
happening.
lyric
Somebody
or
gonna make you a
two.
whole hip hop track.
He need to start a GoFundMe page because that's something that he need to produce that.
Man.
That solution he needs.
Cause he just mixed it for her, but to have that shit mixed and on the ready, like it's all kind of adhesive shit a motherfucker won't go.
Man,
I need
and
some
guess
right
what?
now.
He
Facts.
definitely right now.
I
And
need
people
some
would
money right
pay-
now that won't
And
come
people
out.
will pay top dollar for that shit because how many people get glue in their hair or glue on their skin they can't get it off?
That's
Y'all
all my hair right now.
Hold on.
Doing shit around the crib, I can't get off.
I wonder if it'll work with girls getting gum stuck in their hair.
Right. It probably
Cause you have to cut your hair out for that shit.
Yeah.
And then remember years ago was that little white girl who had did the blackface, and they were saying she was gonna need skin grafts because she had hit her shit with the Sharpie to do the blackface. She was young, like 12. And they were saying that they couldn't get the shit out of her skin. They supposed to shave off the first layer. Like this shit opened
Yeah,
all
I know
kind
that.
of doors. Yeah.
What? I ain't know what the shirt. I done got a Sharpie all over me and it came off.
I don't know how hard she
But-
cause
But
when
you got the
doing
pores
it,
in your
when
face
you
are
doing it, you doing
different.
it accidentally. But to go up shit over and over and over on face flesh, which is different. That's
And
why
then
we
your
use
facial
different
pores
soaps.
are different. Yeah.
But no, they was like, she was fucked up. She had to go through skin grafts.
I
Damn.
don't know what she did. She had to go through black culture again. She got what she asked for. She couldn't get it off.
Dr. Obang, you go there. Like, if you ever want to come on the show, we welcome you.
Yes.
Virtually, whatever you want to do,
We
because we
shout
want to
you out.
support the
We
movement. 'cause
commend you.
We're gonna have
Killed
to zoom
it,
you
bro.
or something because we
What
ain't got no
you
money
on,
to
baby.
bring your
Bro.
butt to the shadow.
We got a second
We ain't
piece.
got no Dr. Obang bucks.
Right, but we got some Obang support. Holla at your girls and your boys. Now, the other piece of Black history, or current Black history, we want to share is this young lady, Kendall Jackson of Northwest Indiana. Come on now, we from Chicago. We fuck with Northwest Indiana.
I do.
Hammond, Gary,
Maryville.
we fuck with Maryville, Cherville, Whiting, Crown Point,
Indiana niggas.
Michigan City. Cause y'all still got some good ass deals out there.
Bro, I thought you about to, you said the D word.
I did. I thought she was
like,
finna go there like, yo. I thought
they
she
got
was
some good ass
D.
D's.
I thought you finna do it.
You said
Why
that?
would I?
I was like, oh, right. In Indiana?
Close your mouth.
Talking about in Indiana. Is that where it's at?
Oh, man. no.
Miss Kendall Jackson of Northwest Indiana is the first African American Eagle Scout ever in 2021. We still making history in 2021.
Yes.
Good thing or bad?
It's good for her.
Good for
Bad
her.
for us.
Bad for her. 2021, she.
So what is it? So what y'all opinion like? Cause my knowledge is that an Eagle Scout is like the advanced fucking Boy Scout. Like I know all the shit. Like is that y'all understanding as well?
Apparently, she know more shit than I know.
Period.
No, Eagle Scout was primarily a male orientated.
But superior to
Girl
Boy
Scouts.
Scout.
Yeah, 'cause you
Cause
had,
the-
Girl Scouts, you had Cub Scouts,
Mhm.
you had the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts, and then you got the Eagle Scouts, which is the next level up.
Now,
That
see,
was
you
a
know,
Cub Scout and a Boy Scout.
I was just gonna say, like, were you in? My daddy wanted me to be a Girl Scout, but my mama was like, "Then you take her," and so I didn't go.
Hey, what benefit do you get from becoming an Eagle Scout?
That's a good question. Do they get like plugged with the military, like the ROTC people?
A scholarship or something?
Gotta be some
There was
scholarships.
some scholarships.
It was
for that,
scholarships.
But you get to learn, certain things that they teach you in survival skills.
Yeah.
Damn badges.
And listen, we fucking around in some shit that a lot of old people call the end times. The motherfuckers that could hunt some shit down and make their own fire is gonna be valuable in these times. Everybody ain't got a bomb shelter, but if you know how to survive in the thick of it, you
These
decent.
people right now can't move without a GPS.
Facts.
Yes.
Do you know I turn my GPS off every time? Now, if I've been lost for my cap is 20 minutes. If I'm lost for 20 minutes, I cut it on. But notoriously, the machines get smarter as we get dumber because we get more reliant on them. I grew up in the age of motherfucking Terminator. Like, I don't play them games with, like, no AI, no Siri, and none of that shit. No, I don't play that. I believe all things evolve. And the day I let you be smarter than me, you out your motherfucking mind, machine man.
Oh, okay.
Arnold.
I had somebody told me they can't drink water that ain't cold.
That's stupid.
Yeah,
Unless it was a relative of mine that said that.
Clear it up
Just saying.
Clear it
No,
up.
He's on her face.
She cleaned that up real quick, boy. Cause she know the lie would have been right.
It wasn't you, was it, Mom?
Cousins. As soon as I see her face, I'm like, close quarters. Just the feeling I got. Cause she was like,
And what's cold is how she ran me, Joe. She ran me, Joe. That's crazy.
and you may not have detected the pause. But there was one ever so briefly.
But she can look at my face and catch it. She always has been reading me like that. She'll look me dead in my eye and be like, "Oh, it's some extra pieces to this story." That's real.
That was stupid.
She looked me right in my face.
Cuz said, I love you, family.
It'd be amazing things like for real. For real, it's people so dependent on. I agree with you 100%.
Dependent. Like you get in your car, like listen. Here at this table, I wasn't even born. I was born in Chicago. I was raised in Chicago. So to be like, okay, I'm going downtown. I have no idea. No, let me get to Madison. If I can't make my way from there, that's another thing. But to not even try, I'm from here. If I don't know my way around this motherfucker after 36 years, I'm fucking up, and that's fast.
Let me tell you something. I go downtown. I love going downtown. But if I don't know how to make it nowhere else, I know how to get to the Nike store.
You know what? I know how to get, and now this is right outside of downtown. I know how to get to Allstate Arena. Now I get my way from there. But like having no clue, like, but Madison is 0 and State is 0, and I gotta at least be able to. So you say you on 600? Okay, so 6 blocks
Is
south.
you 6 north? Is you 6 north and 6 south?
Right, that's very pivotal.
Yeah.
But to just be like
6
in your
east and 6
city,
west.
like
And don't
where am I? Nah, and in the south, bitch, I don't need no
GPS. Figure out first, like, you know what used to irritate the shit. If you don't know north from south, east, west at the time, you deserve to get lost.
Always remember,
You
Madison State Street.
And you know where you don't know. Like, I don't know up north. Like, I know. What's that shit called that everybody knows? It's like a SHSCH. Sheridan. I'm from out south. Well, I'm from out. I grew up out south, so I know about Sheridan. You know what I'm saying? If we talk, I don't know up north. That's it though. Like, I even know the east side. I know east, south, and west decently. Mm-hmm. But to just be like, I'm just clueless. Like, you pray now. Cause your phone can go dead. Your charger active. You pray now. You pray now.
You pray now.
You don't know where
and
you at.
one thing this town do is pray on the week.
Period.
You better know. You better know.
Y'all seen that movie? I always bring in the movie Judgment Night with Cuba Gooding and Emilio Estevez. This is back in like 93. They hopped off the E-way on the way to a big fight. And when they got off, they couldn't find the interest to get back home. Mm-hmm. They end up seeing crazy ass, whatever dude name is from that show. It's a firefighter show that he was on a few years ago. They seen him kill somebody. And they couldn't find their way back to the E-way.
That sounds scary.
You know what? You seen that movie?
Yeah.
Where was they supposed to be
at?
They chased them all through the projects.
They chased them all through the... And didn't that take place here, though?
Was that supposed to be here? That shit looked like it was here. Here in New York.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Chicago. Ish. I think it was. Ish.
No, man. And they chased them all through the... One of them died. 2 of them died. Because they was like, we just gonna get off and get back on, and didn't know where they was. That's Ice Stay ass. You know who was the dude who got killed? Who they seen get killed? Dude off New York Undercover, the Hispanic guy. He the one they saw got killed. It was an all-star cast back in the day.
Like Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I think that was his name off of that.
Yeah, but ever since Malik Yoba started talking dumb, we really had to like disassociate from the whole New York Undercover cast.
Malik Yoba was tripping.
Yeah, when he was like, he be fucking with the bitches with the Dixons.
The bitches with the
Dixons. Ever since then, my folks like, we don't really fuck. I never liked that show, but that was a good ass show. Like, did y'all see them memes that came out? It was like when Malik Yoba say he got some hoes coming through, and they had people like dead.
You know, one of my favorite shows when I was younger, like shows like that, was 21 Jump Street. Mm-hmm. That was my show.
I kind of missed that.
Well, Holly Robinson. Oh my bad.
You missed what?
I kind of missed a little bit before my era. Like when I was actually watching TV, yeah. Cause what year was that?
21 Jump Street.
I'm only 3 years older than you.
Yeah, but 3 years make the difference. Cause I know about a lot of shit my sister don't know. It's a 4 year difference.
I don't even know about no 21.
That's what I'm saying. Like 3 4 years make the difference in TV time.
This was like
Johnny Depp got really popular.
And Holly Robinson Peake.
I know Johnny Depp from the best movie of all time.
What you
saying? That's why I was like, this nigga, he's a sensitive, beautiful man. And I met Winona Ryder. No, so 91, because I was 6. That's really when anything before 91, I don't know what the fuck going on.
Yeah, that was
but that's around the time.
Jump Street.
Really? I don't know. I didn't see that.
That was 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street was in there.
Yeah, 21 Jump Street used to come on the same station, shit, right behind, like, New York Undercover.
Yep.
Yeah, but New York Undercover didn't come out like 95.
Are you drunk?
Let's bet some money. When New York Undercover come out? Because I seen that first episode and it wasn't on 91. I was older than that.
It was 91.
New York Undercover.
I was living with the OG.
New York Undercover.
She Googling y'all. Just in case y'all trying to figure out what she knows. She
Undercover. Because Sherrod be bleeding because of my nails. First.
You could have just spoken in there.
Came out in 94. Because I'm like, I seen the show.
I was
but 3 years, that's what me and I said,
look up 21 Jump Street.
Because see, I seen that with Channing Tatum.
That's
No, girl, that was so disrespectful.
That's what I was just about to say. I thought 21 Jump Street was just a movie.
I'm turning into a whole comedy and everything. All these reboots be trash. They be messing up the originals.
I didn't even know 21 Jump Street was a
TV show. It was just, yeah.
I thought it was just a movie.
Man, these folks be tweaking.
With Jonah Hill and
21 Jump Street.
87. Right, I don't know no shit that came out in 87.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
How long did it stay on?
It came out the year my brother was
It
born.
stayed on a long time.
87 to 91. Now I missed that.
yeah, I wasn't watching that.
Yeah, she.
Cause
Sorry.
I'm like, no, that wasn't no. I know the 90s shit. No, I know the 90s shit now. That Boys in the Hood came out. You can't get nothing past 91 past me.
My bad.
Damn, she said you can't get nothing past 91.
Nah, I was on it then.
What was I doing watching 21 Jump Street at?
I don't know why you was watching that.
That was
It
good.
was the shit. It was good.
They weren't having no sex or nothing.
I was like undercover. No, I think some was undercover. Oh, they was police too. I figured that from the movie. But listen. So now we're gonna do our segue. I don't have no delicate way to do it. Into our main show topic. Now we're gonna talk about Russell Wilson, Future, Baby Future, and Sierra. Now I remember when this whole shit first exploded and motherfuckers was really siding with Future in the beginning, like why she got that other nigga around her son throwing footballs and shit is disrespectful. That's before motherfuckers knew the totality that was Future bullshit.
The only thing I had with was the new poses with the boy. Like I thought they.
But that wasn't with the son.
He was in the picture though. He was in the picture.
His mama was holding him though. I did think that was odd. I thought that was odd. But
that
that
was
ain't on Russell.
extremely
That's on
weird.
Cece.
That's on Russell too. Cause me personally, if I was the stepdad in that situation, I'd be like, you know what?
I'm gonna sit this one out. She still would have done it with her
You
son.
know what?
I don't feel comfortable.
So what was the statements? Because actually you brought it to me, Rocco. So what was the statements made? Because this been ongoing for about 8-9 years now. How long they been together? Man, 30 minutes. Cause
their second year in the league, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they in it now. But there's been ongoing conversations about stepdaddy versus biological daddy. What's crossing the line? What's being respectful? But what I always went back to is before she was with him and she was with Future, she was with all 5 of his kids on a regular basis, playing stepmama, and he never had a problem with that until somebody was playing stepdaddy to his son. Cause that bitch had been, she was like on their 3rd day, she was babysitting his kids. So you don't mind the new parent being around when it's you, but then he was real offended when it was a new parent around his son.
I feel like, you can't get offended, especially if it's somebody that's gonna be in your child's life. Period.
Yes.
Like, if you know you're gonna be with this person, that's one thing. But if it's just a fuck around,
but in the beginning, we didn't know they was gonna last. They weren't married yet, so now they done proved their story over time.
Hey, when he signed that contract, she was like, got a ring.
And he proposed up like 9 months. Remember, they practiced abstinence. They did not even fuck until they was married.
You know, Russell Williams. Wow. Sorry, Russ. Russell Wilson. He's a very spiritual dude. I mean, he is.
But was he abstinent before he married that white bitch? Because remember when he came out with Sierra, that white bitch was like, I had a better ring, bitch. And I'm like, what did she? She did. She brought her ring out on social media and was like, he don't love that black bitch and nigga spent $5 million on my shit. She did. So I was wondering, like, if they waited till marriage too, or if that's something that he was doing with
What do you think Sierra said to her about her $5 million
I'm
ring?
sure she didn't give a fuck.
Listen,
Because she got
$5
$500 and some $1 million contract.
and not only that, Sierra got her own.
Mansion.
But I thought that was tacky. Like, why
It
did
is.
you come out
And
after
not
the
only-
engagement?
This is bitter bitches.
Yeah, that's what
Bitter
they
bitches.
do.
Bitter
And not
bitches.
only that,
Yeah.
you got
Bitter
only thing you
Oh.
got to show for some shit is a $5 million ring. Bitch, Sierra got her own $5 million plus
Yeah,
some.
man.
Oh,
Did
why-
you see Sierra?
Why she still got the ring? She should have found that motherfucker.
All she had, and she showed it.
Come on, man.
But
Just
my thing is this,
that's
like,
that's why I'm asking why the chick still had the dress that Bill Clinton bust on. I'm still trying to
She
figure out
did
why
have
that's
that
still
but
in
they
the
bitch out
closet.
the closet like,
Hey.
happy.
You got a ring that'll change. You got a ring change that to change your life. Why you still holding on to
Because
it?
he rich.
She maybe,
You gotta
because
bring
I don't know that.
already be rich. Like,
She probably got a bunch of bread in the settlement. But what I liked about it was they was like he the only. Did y'all see the memes? It was like the only black man to get famous and switch from white to black. Like, and I don't know. I'm sure other men have done it, but the fact that he was with that white bitch during his broke time and he married her probably as a reward. But when he got home, he chose a black woman.
Sierra hit his ass. Sierra hit his ass some of them dance moves, and he was like, yeah.
Of course. I was just sitting here thinking.
I can't go back to somebody that ain't got no rhythm.
Right. All day I agree with that.
I always felt that too. When they say once you go black, you can't go back. I always felt like it was a rhythm thing. The men and the women. Like I just feel
or like in white chick, he said once you go black, you gonna need a wheelchair.
That could happen.
Terry
Backs get thrown out in the black community. Like y'all, we all were like growing up. Like you seen the episode of mine when she came out with that motherfucking headboard on her head.
Yeah,
that's some black shit. Like where it could happen.
Yeah.
That big ass head shouldn't have been in there.
That's
and then try to put that big ass hair on that.
But we're getting off topic.
Right.
Russell Wilson said when I got to meet Future, he was young. Talking about Little Future. And the reality was that for me, it was a blessing and an opportunity to really hopefully be there for him every day and try to care for him in a way that was important for me. Right. I always wanted someone to do for me.
Right.
Like my dad did for me. So he came from an environment where his father was deaf.
Right.
And his father was in his life.
Right.
So with that being translated, he said, and also I think the greatest thing that I've ever learned in life is probably in that relationship with Future. Because the reality of being a step parent is that biologically they're not necessarily yours, but the reality is that you have to love them as if they are.
Yeah. Right. Which is true shit.
That's what made me want to bring that to the table.
Right.
Because with that being said, you know, there are certain people out here who don't necessarily feel that same way. And I wanted to bring it to the table because in certain situations, there was a scenario that occurred a little while ago. Some people's perspective in a situation where the step parent is in a home with the child and the current parent at the time that they're with, they don't believe in actually interacting with the child in a parent role. It was even brought to an attention that they believe that no, my role is to be your significant other. It's not my role to be parent to your child.
Right.
So in that being said, I thought about that. So I read his article and I thought about what that person said. I said, well, damn.
You know what?
Isn't that about?
But then if you look at the back end, I dated two people who was like, yeah, my mama remarried, but he never fucked with me. And I heard the exact same story from two different people. Like, he was here for my mom, I appreciate that. And I'm talking about motherfuckers that's in their 40s, that they mother married in the late 80s, and the relationship, the man never took an interest. It's like, oh, in one instance, the man had his own child by the woman and just totally focused on his child. In the other situation, the man had his own kids and was just loyal to his kids. Like, they never reproduced together. But being with a man that's 38, 39 years old and had a man in the house that basically rejected him, like he ain't never took you to get a haircut, he known you since you was 6 or 7. He ain't never motherfucking taught you how to fight or told you how to stand up against a bully or gave you no advice about girls. Like, the first time I heard it, I thought a motherfucker was lying. The second time, I was talking to my best friend. She's like, what kind of woman would let a nigga come in that house and play your son dirty?
Hold fast.
It's what she said.
Because it's another scenario that comes along with that as well. You have women, and for some reason, it's always understood that a man that comes in a house with a woman with kids is automatically assuming that man is supposed to take responsibility.
But you don't always.
Some of them don't believe that, but it's assumed. Let's just say it's assumed. When a man with a woman with kids, that man had to do for them kids. It's always been a sort of, at least in the circles I've been around,
Right.
it has always been an understanding. My grandfather did that.
Right.
He took on a woman with 8 of them,
Right.
6 of them in the crib,
Right.
and then took on 2 grandkids
Right.
and helped raise them.
Right.
That's my example. My first example. My granddaddy. My biological grandfather was murdered before I was born. The only grandfather I knew was Hoyt Slate. I didn't even know he wasn't my parent, my mother, and my uncles and aunt biological till I even grew up to an age to understand, because he was all I knew.
Right.
And in that, to understand that his last name ain't the same as our last name, and the situation came about, didn't mean shit to me, because that's all I knew.
Right.
And that man never, ever in life made me feel like I wasn't nothing but love.
And you was his grandson.
I was his grandson, you goddamn me right. And wasn't nobody gonna tell him different, and wasn't nobody gonna ever step out of bounds with that.
Right.
You understand me? So, fast forward to my mama. My mama had a boyfriend at the time. I was like, I want to say 3 or 4 years old. He came into our life and stayed till I was 10. They had a son together, which is my little brother Chris. That man played daddy to me to that point. To this day, he's still considered daddy. I'm still looking at him like he my dad.
Right.
My real father, he's been there in and out through my youth. He came back in my adult, and he was cool later on in his life. He went through his problems, went through his addiction, so he wasn't there for me as a child.
Mm-hmm.
That man stood in the gap.
Right.
And then they broke up when I was 10. He never left me. He could have. He had a son with her. He could have just came and got my little brother and was like, yo. He never left Rob behind. He never left Rocco behind. He stayed there. And then my mama got with this man, the next man she was with. And they still married to this day.
Right.
And he was stepped in the gap and ain't never once left or sidestepped in the gap. I was his. Chris was his. And we've been his ever since. So we was blessed in a scenario where our steps was on point.
Right.
Through our whole life. Even never left us. So we look at them and consider them as our father.
Right.
Now, we in scenarios where it's understood that this is how it's supposed to go.
Right.
But what blew me, I heard a scenario where a woman didn't feel that way about a man taking on his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was weird. Because, usually a woman is a woman, you're a mother, you would take on that.
Like, yeah.
For
like
a woman to be like, no, man, my kid.
That's like such
that
nature.
blew me. Like, I didn't understand that.
That
That was totally, that was unfathomable to me. Unfathomable.
Yes, I know, but that role still got to be established with the person that's actually the parent.
True story, 100%.
And you can't expect for somebody that it ain't theirs to just come step into that role.
True.
I feel like that
something just
come
come natural. Yeah.
Now you don't need nobody with a kid in there, but now you done been around this child 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, so when is the transition over into you being in that role?
Never.
Depends on how long they've been around. Now, if you done help raise this kid, then that's one thing. You are their parent. But if you just stepped in and they just 10, 12 years old and you just 1, 2 years there, you kind of feel out of place parenting them unless that role is established by the parent that's
all I can go on is what I've experienced.
Right.
And in that scenario, what you said, I feel like
your mama probably established that role. Like, look, these my kids, and this is what I want you to do for them. This is how I want you to treat them. Y'all probably never knew that, but your mama probably established.
Yeah, that sounds about
right.
That sounds like my mama.
Yeah.
But what
that
I'm saying
was had.
I hear that. Okay, but let's look at the onus. Let's put the onus on the person that's coming into this environment. If you know this woman got kids, and y'all decide to move into this and pay bills together, live under one roof together, be in this place together, and you know there are children there. To me, go ahead. Y'all hands up before I get it out. But go ahead.
Go ahead. For me. If that's the case,
I play pussy with me.
I'm
I be feeling that too. You got some soft feet.
I'm gonna feel out of place. I'm gonna feel out of place doing that until the person give me that power. Because you never want to be put in a position where that kid feel like you did something out of bounds to them, and then it puts you against the person that you
Before you cut me off, I was headed in that direction. Go ahead.
Okay, so I am in this current situation. My significant other has children. 2 does not live with him, and 1 lives with us because we share a home. So, with me being the person I am, I didn't push myself on his kids. Me being who I am came natural. So, I have a son, and do I expect my significant other to play daddy to my son? No. I want you to be who you are.
I have a question. How old is your son?
My son is about to be 22.
When did your significant other come into his life?
Ooh, about 16.
Difficult in that branch. It's hard to come into a 15, 16-year-old and say,
But what if he would have came in with
No. Listen to what I'm. You never finish what I'm saying. They have a relationship. Did I make him call him his stepson? No, because he doesn't do that. Did he make me call his kids my stepkids? No, because that's not what I do. I am who I am because I'm a mother. I have instincts. Period. It's natural to me.
Now you getting to what I'm getting to.
It's natural.
What's natural?
It's natural for me to be a mother. Period. To nurture children.
To do
right. So we're not talking about titles. We're talking about
now back before y'all cut me off. That's where I was going.
Yeah, so it's natural, you know what I'm saying, to nurture.
That's where I was going.
So with that being said, I do things with his daughters and I do things with his son. And
to establish a rapport with them.
This is just me being who I am.
That's
because
establishing it with them.
So I do stuff like financially, do I give them money and shit like that? No. I spend time.
But that's still the same thing.
That's more important than money.
Right? Exactly. So and what I did, me and him never established, okay, these my motherfucking kids, you gonna come into life, this is what you gonna do. No, that's not what happened.
Maybe he thought your character was enough intact that he didn't have to have that conversation.
Exactly, because my son is my son. His daddy ain't never been there. My brothers and my father have been my son's male figure in his life.
I don't think it's all based on need either, because my kids got a daddy that love them to see them regularly. But I'll be damned if another motherfucker gonna come in here and act like you ain't ready to play the role to the fullest right now.
Right.
I'm not. You know, daddy know that.
Yeah, because you don't have to act like you their daddy, but you will respect my kids.
And then that's also being a father figure. Like,
okay, so riddle me this back, girl. How does respecting your kids equate to not fucking with your kids?
That is rude.
So that means they don't respect your kids, or they don't fuck with your kids.
If you don't respect my kids, you don't fuck with me.
No, don't twist the word. If they don't fuck with your kids,
you don't fuck with me.
So that's
because my kids. I was never saying what you were about to say was a bad thing. I was just saying the situation.
That's where I was going.
That I'm in.
It's certain scenarios where they like, yo.
Listen, let me
tell you something.
Somebody
say. Now, man, I think a man supposed to raise his own kids.
Now, whether or not the conversation needs to be had, that's a sticky territory.
That's an adult conversation.
Some people do need to have it.
But I say that to say, because I'm trying to hold on to my thought.
Go ahead. Go ahead before you lose. No, you smoke that weed.
Don't you do that in public.
He said no to drugs.
Yeah, that king. He said no to drugs.
So
he'll smoke that weed.
What I was saying is me understanding the scenario, going into a place where you know this woman got kids and you going into the scenario, like as a man going into that, you understand that I'm moving into an environment that this kid is in and their children.
Yeah.
It's me as an adult's responsibility to try to make this transition as easy as possible. So in that, how do it feel easier about you being there because you're coming into an environment that's really making them feel crowded.
Right, because
you're interfering into that child's scenario. You coming into a situation where that child is now have to learn someone new, and not only that, you ain't fucking with them. Yeah, so you coming into a motherfucking scenario where you walk into a house with a whole stranger and he ain't talking to you.
Anybody,
how does that work?
You can't possibly be. Let me say this. You can't possibly be in a relationship with somebody that don't fuck with your kids. Because if you don't fuck with my kids, you don't fuck with me.
It's possible. God damn it, it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, I know. It's possible for an unnatural motherfucker.
Yeah, the whole scenario is unnatural because now I see in your face, which just coincides with what I'm saying. It is impossible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's impossible.
To move into a situation where there's children there.
Right.
I'm in the next room knocking the bottom out of their parent. And then I'm going to get up and walk through the bathroom and just glance over the room like, and walk into the bathroom and go wipe my feet.
See, now, there is a...
So, but when do you assert yourself as being a father? I mean, a parent figure.
That ain't what you do going into that.
It's like a growth.
You can't assert yourself walking and trying to establish your authority with these children.
Right.
You have to start with a rapport with these kids. If these kids do something that you as an adult, hey man, you can slide them on to say, man, it's not a cool thing.
And even before
if I were you, I would handle it this way.
You can start, I think you start by addressing the other parents to see if they open to you helping.
But that's an adult.
Some parents, some parents.
That's why I say you bring it to them. No, but you bring it to them. So it's like, okay, let's say Kelly throws some shit around or whatever, and I'm just walking through acting like I don't see it. More than likely, my guy would be like, hey, so you don't think that that's kind of bogus? Like, he gonna approach it carefully.
Right.
You don't think that ain't really cool? You feel like that's cool? He gonna ask me. Now, if I'm like, yeah, it's cool, he like, oh, okay.
Right.
So he's taking a mental note.
He's
like,
taking a mental note.
Bitch, you can't be addressed about these kids.
Yeah, about these kids. Which in turn is gonna cause my black ass to plot my fucking escape.
Right.
Because if I can't say nothing about something, if I'm seeing something
to
myself that's
right,
and I can't come to you, like, yo,
because the first thing that's gonna come to your mind, if he would have went straight to your door, like, hey, stop throwing that shit, you like, hold on, motherfucker, she like
and even putting that out there because, like, at one point, Kelly was doing some shit. He was like, oh, okay, you got a few more months, because even he know, like, I need to be around here in a pleasant way long enough to even tell you stop fucking playing with me. Right. She'll, like, jump on his back and shit like that. And it's like, well, I can't instantly, like, hey, get the fuck off me, even if that's what a motherfucker want to say. So I think addressing the parent first,
I don't think you can ever say get the fuck off.
Hell no.
Right, but more so like bring some and true comes up like you got my neck. It's kind of heavy, as we all know.
Yes, we do.
But like I think it's ways and then also there are experienced step-parents and there are inexperienced. Like me personally, I've never had a serious relationship with someone with a child. Never. Even though I've been a mother since I was 17, I've never had a serious relationship with a man with a child. I'll make you a daddy.
But let me ask you a question.
You know, but it's not something I'm
But you're an experienced
He's gonna say I'll make you a daddy.
Are you consider yourself an experienced parent?
Oh, I am. So but I'm a over the top nurturer in some way.
No shit. But the point of the matter is,
but for the average person,
you're an experienced parent.
I'm an experienced parent.
You go into a scenario with a man with kids. Let's look at the scenario of the Brady Bunch. He got 3 boys, she got 3
and they was
girls.
just all family.
They came in, and
That's
it
true.
was understood what was going into the scenario and what the roles were.
Yeah, it was. But what I'm saying is like, everybody might not catch it in that way. So that's why I'm like, well, there are things you could do. Test it with the parent, like, oh, so she just be wearing her titties down her at 12.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And then let that father be like, well, yeah, let my daughter be free. Or like, no, she should, but she don't have the right example. That other parent, I feel, will tell you everything you need to know about how you need to
But that has to, and I feel like, yo,
and
that
not
should
no
have
formal
been done before
conversation.
you decided to come in full time.
I
That
agree
need
that
to
too.
be learned.
I agree that
You
too.
they grown up to learn when you got somebody with kids, because you need to look at this scenario like this will be my scenario soon.
But like in the situation I told you, like these motherfuckers, the white niggas who didn't fuck with their sons. Now that's, to me, that's strange. Like you
I
was
think it's extremely strange, but on the male content, like yo, they probably thinking like, well, the kid live with their mama full time. But in my scenario, my children live with me. They got custody with my kids. You cannot fuck with my kids.
I'm like,
you cannot.
But you can be like the mothers that I just listed. I just told you
How do you say that? Am I saying that right?
you can't not
fuck with my kids and fuck with me.
Exactly, because that's not fucking with me.
Yeah.
But there are people, men and women and men, who have allowed that.
And I think that's pussy shit. They need to be punched in their shit because them kids didn't actually come here. So they damn sure don't need to be mistreated in a place where they supposed to feel comfortable.
Y'all think I was an addict.
You see what happened in this Christmas?
With
They're Ray down. No, this Christmas.
I don't know about that movie.
Ain't that this Christmas
There
with
was
Chris
a movie.
Brown them?
Yeah.
Oh,
With
yeah.
Chris Brown them and Loretta Devine, Daryl Lynn.
Right, and they daddy had been there. He was, but she was pretending like she didn't live with Buddy.
Yeah, but everybody knew.
Right.
You
Except
know-
for Idris Elba.
Well, he knew.
He's so fine.
But you know, he was on that. I'm the oldest son kick, and this is how it is. But everybody else in the line respected that man as being who that man was. And that man was there for each and every one. Even him, when them dudes was there to kill him. You know, and he broke the bread and checked him in the bathroom. You gonna take this money and move around? And we gonna have other problems.
But see, that comes along with having a code, and you think, cause you the one that really told me like, well, everybody ain't built a certain way, and it would sound like common knowledge, but it's not. Cause I have one family, I got one best friend, I don't have a lot of exposure to the world at large, so it's a lot of shit. I'm like, people be doing that shit. Like I be feeling naive just because I'm in a little box. My mother and my grandmother really sheltered me to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of shit. So I didn't even know that motherfuckers would get with you and really just want to get the pussy of the dick and not fuck with your kids. I didn't even know that happened. I didn't even know.
Now you want to hear something crazy? I didn't know it happened on the flip side with women with men.
Yeah, because
with
you know,
kids.
yeah.
I'm not down to the fact that some lame ass niggas out here be on that whole ass
Yeah,
shit.
that's one thing. But
I fuck with that nigga. You can leave your child. You ain't got a problem fucking this chick and not fucking with hers. I get that.
so
That's mob shit. But what was really amazing to me
was it
is to realize that there are women who can, in their mind, be like, man, that's not my child.
And the fucked up part is about that.
I don't. It really
And
baffles my mind.
The fucked up part about that is that what you're saying is, I can see it possibly coming from a woman that has no kids, but if you have kids and you not fucking with the man kids that you with, that seems very and awfully strange to me. It's like you have some type of jealousy or something towards these kids, like they taking your attention or some shit. You know, that's some weird shit.
I agree. Like I just it just never
One of the
occurred to me. That's how
things
women had such a
you
bubbly
don't know until you know. Like, so my sister doesn't have any children. She's never been with a man who didn't have kids. It's like we the reverse. And since she was 19, with no children of her own, she slide in like, hey, what the baby want to eat? You know, it's like it was instant. But that man didn't know that about her until he brought that child there. It's like a fucked up thing because you don't even know how a motherfucker gonna respond. And I hate to bring in Steve Harvey, but Steve Harvey was like, you don't do the introduction after you in love. He said the reason you don't is because once you love them and they don't click with them kids, you're not gonna release them. He was like, I get it, you don't want a lot of people meeting your kids, but once you think that you could be serious about them, he's like, mark my words, because you'll marry a man who hates your kids if you already love him. You find out how he gonna rock with them before the love. And motherfuckers like, what are you saying, Steve? The friend people wrong, you casually dating? He's like, no. What I'm saying is, make sure it's a connection before you in love, and you really ignore that they don't fuck with your kids, because you will ignore it if you in love. That, I don't give a fuck what nobody said about Steve. That was a bar. That was a bar, because once you in it, now you trying to work with them, when really you just supposed to be like, I'm good on you. But now you in too deep. That's facts. That's facts.
That's 100%. That's 100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's why, be where we at. Like, they talk about how toxic the relationship was Future had with all of his baby mamas.
All of them. Ain't nobody got a report.
You have Russell Wilson coming into the scenario like, I know about all that, and I'm not even finna badmouth Buddy.
Right.
I want to be this for Dude. I want to be this for Junior.
Right.
I want to be that example of a child like that he probably don't get nowhere else. Let that be me.
Yeah, he told that man,
That's a powerful thing.
I'm your future now.
And the household, because my best friend, her daughter, I think she got married to her guy when her daughter was like 4. And one day she was like, yeah, my stepdaddy. And she was like, well, no. The baby thought that her daddy was her stepdaddy. Because she thinking step mean outside. She see the man that's kissing her mama every day, that's helping raise her, as her father. She didn't mean no harm. Like, yeah, my stepdaddy Dave. Her name Dave, like that's her real daddy. But children identify with the person that's with their OG if we keeping it funky, especially at a young age, 3, 4, 5. Mm-hmm. So you can't come in that motherfucker acting like you don't fuck with them because they think you pops or you mama.
True story. Yeah. And then that's how it's built. Like I said, I didn't find out my granddaddy wasn't my granddaddy till I was of age, and I was like,
same. And I had 4 granddaddies growing up. I had 2 biological grandfathers, but both my biological grandmothers had remarried before I was born.
So you had 4 granddaddies.
I had 4 granddaddies growing up, and I didn't. And nobody told me like, well, these your real granddaddies, and these your the ones married to your granny. I didn't know who was who. Talking about 13 years old. I was like, oh, okay, so. But yeah, but I had no idea because I think my granny married my grandpa Larry in '83. I was born in '85, and my other granny married her new husband in like '80. So when I was born, they was my grandfathers. Never treated me no. My grandpa Larry taught me how to read. He would take me to the zoo and ride me around his back and make me read every sign. I mean, like I ain't never known.
Those are the examples you take, which is in turn why I guess I view things the way I view them.
Right.
Because of those were the examples that I've had.
Right.
You know,
me too.
And you too.
Motherfuckers can't.
You know, yeah. All right. Well, you got.
But I did. So the only time it didn't happen was my biological. Obviously, my name is Kamisha Hayes. My grandfather's name is Samuel Clay Hayes Sr. He had a wife that did not fuck with us. That was my first taste of the just because you married into the family don't mean you give a fuck about the family.
How old was you?
5, 6.
About
5, 6, and I remember like I would try to like kick it with her, and she'd be like on her own thing. And I'm like, ain't this my grandma? Because I'm confused. I'm thinking everybody married to a grandparent is a.
So did she cook for y'all every night?
No, because she was my grandma. She was my grandfather's wife, so I wasn't there a lot for her to cook for us all. But on the one day I do remember being there. She made some whack shit. That's what I remember, like the food being nasty.
That's probably why she ain't like
That's probably why, because I ain't like her food. So listen, I spit my pea back out like I ain't used to unseasoned peas. And so she was like, you pick that shit back up and you eat it. And my grandfather was like, can I talk to you for a minute?
I know your granddad too.
Yeah. So
probably choked up in the car.
I told her I had to go to the bathroom, which I did. And when we was passing through, she was up on the.
Oh, I'm right.
On the crib. And I feel like this, like.
Break down. Boy, you gave him a shot. You gave him a
shot. Yeah, she blocking it. But like the shit was like all the way up around her eyes, and he was like, "You don't say shit to Kamisha about shit ever, bitch." And she was like,
"She don't want that pee."
Yeah, but it was sad because she was still a woman who clearly was in a domestic violence situation with my grandfather, but. Like, bitch.
But she learned.
Right, because, bitch, either you can get on the family train or you can
get ran over the family train. You get ran over by the family train. That's what he was on.
That shit was critical. My mama was like, and my
Sam Banks wasn't no joke.
Sam Banks, also known as Sam Hayes.
Also known as Sam Hayes. But when I was a kid, I'm older than her, I grew up Sam Banks. Didn't make no connection to nothing else. It was Sam Banks. And I come out later. Hey.
That's the only time that's the only person that didn't fuck with me. And it was immediate consequences. Like, eat. She ain't gotta eat shit. This shit there. Like, he went in like, bitch, don't say nothing to her ever again in your life. And she just was like, you said you'll never hit me again. It was fucked up. He was like, well, today.
That made me feel like telling purple.
It was all bad. Like,
but those are the examples though. Like,
no, hold on. But those are situations I'm talking about. Those are situations I'm talking about where you don't know when or how to assert yourself as being the parent figure.
She figured out now.
But you gotta lead with love, which is what I told
you. Yeah,
you can't come in like you don't have no relationship with me.
He was disconnected.
Yeah.
And then you like you pick them peas up and put them in your mouth. How about I pick you up against this wall and straighten you out right quick? Because you ain't delivered that. When you come in and you get, if you lead with love,
Lead with love.
then discipline will be handed out with love.
And that's my only last
If you
2
lead
cents on
with
that
love,
is,
discipline
I
will be
watched
handed
that
out with love. That
transition.
trust will be there.
because when I got with my ex-husband, he didn't have any children, and he loved the dirt off my oldest child. Like, this is my daughter. Once he had his own, and it's no shade, this is facts. Once his child came, it was like, she need to do this, she need to do that. She was in trouble constantly. And I told him, I'm like, you're not leading with love no more. It's obvious when you love a child and when you telling them they doing something wrong from love, and when you just on their ass about everything.
Right.
He totally
Like they
changed. He
irritate
totally switched it on once he had a biological child. And kids know that. Then they start responding to your hostility. Now
Exactly.
they get their ass beat. No, like, because that's, you're not putting out the right shit no more. So I don't think my grandfather would have done that just because she was putting her foot down.
You don't think he recognized that she wasn't fucking with them?
Right.
So then when he pulled that move, Sam was like, come on, let me talk to you.
Okay, but how long was you around her before that happened? Was it like
That's the
months,
first time
years?
I remember meeting her. So I was only 6, so I might have met at 2, 3, and maybe my memory hadn't picked up yet. But that's the time I remember meeting her. And then when my grandfather was murdered along with his brother. And I remember my mama going over there asking for pictures of her father, and she refused to even give us a picture book. Like she was just a selfish ass bitch.
Mm-hmm. No,
well, you got some oddities. You got some people that do things the right way, and some people that do.
I agree.
Yeah, like some people try to lead with discipline, and that's how
You
do
can't
it.
lead. You can't lead with your foot on the motherfucking neck.
Your boundaries, and your rules, and your house. This how you gonna live. You can't
The
do that with
kids
children.
is gonna instantly.
It depends on how you is. Cause look, me personally, I'm a very aggressive person in nature, so I don't. If I meet somebody that have kids, I won't want to assert myself right away because it might be taken the wrong way.
I understand that.
Because,
but also because
but
I
that
think you
don't
have
mean
like
you
a
stand
temperament
off
that
with
you're
the
not
kid
aware
either.
of.
Like I get you. I understand what you're saying, and there is a fine line. But you as an adult dealing with children have to find that line.
And the
It
other
has to.
parent ushers
At the
you
end of the
in.
day, right? I mean, because there has to be some type of communication and understanding between the adults in the situation, so you understand how to deal with the kid on one accord.
Right.
Because if you can't do it alone, it's impossible. You go in that situation trying to figure that shit out by yourself, you're gonna be standing up
Yeah,
to the side by your
now
motherfucking
if the
self.
parent, if the biological parent be on some goofy shit, be like, hey, I want to get close to the kids. You having candid conversations, and they're like, well, that's between y'all. Then they a goofy anymore. I think there's so many goofy red flags in a situation like that.
Yeah, but see, the problem with that is now, like what Steve Harvey said, is now it's emotions in play.
Yeah.
You feeling some way, and now this situation occurs, and now you're in a situation where you really figuring this shit out alone.
Yeah.
And the cold part about that is, in a scenario of that, it's difficult to be that person because you really alone in this situation trying to make shit fit. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's fucking hard.
Yeah.
But going in, like, that's why I say, like, if you're going into a scenario where you're the step, the scenario for that step, to me, is to try to establish, like you said, you lead with understanding, you lead with love. So when you come with discipline, then that in itself is received with love.
Yeah.
It has to be, you can't just establish because I'm grown, you're a kid, do what I say.
No,
Especially when them kids understand what your role is in the scenario. There's going to be conflict.
Even the kids know you just got here.
Yeah.
They know they're like, who the fuck is...
Listen, because they be like, they'll be, you know what I'm saying? Kids be like, you ain't my mama. It's the first thing that comes out, oh, you ain't my daddy. You know what I'm saying? When you try to come off aggressive to them in the beginning, if you establish or grow a relationship with them, and then when you say something to naturally a person will go to the parent first before they say something to the child.
Should, but not everybody do that.
They don't.
I think
it's
in
natural.
the beginning it should.
In the
you
beginning.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in, then you should.
No,
But in
I
the beginning,
still-
yeah, those are
like
what should
mine.
be done.
Hey, so I got a question for y'all. So what happens in the instance, because this is a real thing. You with somebody for year 2, 3, maybe 4 years.
Okay.
And you don't meet the other person's kids because it might be distance in between y'all, but y'all fell in love with each other and y'all making the thing work right. So what happens in the instance where, okay, you get that person to come move with you, and obviously they bring their kids. And
Shouldn't
your
happen.
first time, hold on, your first time actually meeting their kids is either when they move with you or months before they move with you. Like how does
and that's
that
not
person?
uncommon, especially
It's
It's
not
not
uncommon.
common. I think it shouldn't happen if you've been with somebody that young. But in that scenario, you as the adult should make it comfortable for that kid. Because that kid.
But you don't let that kid run over
It
you.
ain't nobody
No.
said nothing about
But
running
you
over
do-
because
you
if
do
that
tell
kid
the
doing
child.
something, if that kid initially approaches a motherfucker on
Cause
some
it's
disrespectful
always
shit,
you ain't
that's
my
gonna
daddy.
make me no.
Because this
It's
is
never that.
my.
I've never said that.
No, I'm just saying that can definitely happen.
It
They
can
moving into
in
your
what
house, it could be
scenario?
that you ain't my daddy.
True story.
They don't even know you yet.
That's
you can be
when
with their mother or their father for a couple
What I'm
years.
gonna say to that is, I think you need to know your partner.
all
Like
the
you
time.
need, so a person that's gonna enter this household, they know that my kids respect me, and that if I tell my kids like, hey, this person is moving here, I want you to make them feel welcome. They know my kids gonna honor me. So you should know if a
And that's where
motherfucker.
it is.
You should know if a motherfucker kids don't give a fuck about what they talking about.
Yeah, because
You know what I'm saying? Like,
my kids gonna honor me, Joe.
Cause some of these kids don't give a fuck what you talking
But
about.
There's some people
but
kids
then-
that don't even fuck
and
with their
that-
parents.
and
No,
that means-
if they don't
that
fuck with
means-
their parents, y'all
That's
let
a
it go
whole
hard.
dysfunctional thing you
Yeah.
finna get yourself into. That's your fault.
Yeah.
Because if you ain't made no connection that that kid don't even respect their mama, and they finna move in your house, it's your fault.
Y'all gonna be fighting.
That's whoever house this is happening in, it's their fault.
No, but no,
Because the
no,
difficult
because
is-
you just put out a scenario there, cause that's real.
That
There are
is.
some kids that be like,
That's
fuck
why I
you,
say-
mom.
That's why I say
Yeah, that
you
be
can't
right.
be dating nobody 3-4 years and don't know they
Sorry.
fucking kids. Then the first time you meet them is because they finna move in your house.
That's
But
what
see,
it is.
Hell no.
no, you may have met him, but it may have been too
No, that's
formal.
not the scenario he
No,
gave.
I feel you, but I'm just opening up to all scenarios.
Okay,
like
come on with that,
when
'cause
I
that
was like,
scenario is
when I
outrageous.
was like in my
Yeah.
super save shit, I didn't believe in living with somebody prior to marriage. So I moved in with my ex-husband the day we got married. So he knew some shit about Leia, but how much can you know on some picky up
High
seven?
shit.
Yeah, on some high bash shit. So it's limited. And so now
There was never no discussion about it.
I think on occasion or two, he was like, "Oh, I really want to step up and be there for Leia," and I was like, "Okay, cool," but like a detailed conversation was not had.
It wasn't no
So,
daddy daughter
no,
thing.
it
I was
wasn't.
like,
And at that time, we 25. You know what I'm saying? So we was real young, getting married anyway. I was already a young parent. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all took the
So
whole gamble.
we took a whole gamble. So then we
You
moved
just
in
right.
that
But
day.
then you know what I feel about that scenario? You read your nigga.
Right.
So you understood what was coming into that place, and you also knew if he got out his body, you was gonna put them hands
Beat
on.
that little
So
ass.
you already knew what you was gonna bring to the table.
Right.
If he got
Because I
out his
know how
body,
I'm
it's a different
So it's
scenario.
proactive and it's reactive. Like I like to be both. Like, okay, the proactive is to have the conversation with you about how I want my daughter to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I didn't have that, I hope you knew me well enough to know I'm gonna react to anything I find inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
Hey, there's so many different scenarios.
It
for this
is.
topic.
It is.
It's a lot. We covered a lot. We covered a lot in this
Yeah,
room.
this could be ongoing.
And
forever.
I'm gonna say we
Because
probably
it's-
need a continuation
It's
on this one.
personal to each of us in different ways.
Different ways.
And we got a lot of different scenarios in the play. You know what I'm saying? And that's powerful. That's why I want to talk about it, because we have a large.
Now
range.
it's
Right.
different parenting styles, but I ain't never been with nobody who wasn't down for the kids. Now maybe you just like kind of kooky and you giving my kids maybe the wrong lesson or something. But on some, I'm here for that, and not them. Ain't nobody never.
Or
approached me
separating
like
other
that.
kids either. And here's another play. Because, you know, we've established, you know, in our family,
Mhm.
the older two got different fathers from the other 6.
Right.
And, you know, it's a dynamic there. We're talking about our grandparent. The scenario, her great grandparent, my grandparent, the scenario there was so, the dynamic was so strained and stressed.
Right.
And it's the understanding, whereas you got two different layers here, because my grandfather, Hoy Slayton, had a whole nother family.
Right.
He was married with grown ass kids in a whole nother state. There was tension with his old family, with his previous family, and the new family. And it was tension with my grandmother and his previous kids.
Now, how old was Uncle Roosevelt when she got with Hoy? Just to see how the youngest child was at the time.
4.
Okay.
I think Little Roll was 4. Or Junior. Junior was 4.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I think my mama was 7 or 8.
Okay.
I
Right, so he
But I
came
think
in
he
during
came
young
in-
ages.
He came in during young ages for a lot of them.
Right.
I want to say I might be right. I think
And then
mama
how long
probably
was they
10 and
together?
one probably was 6.
How long was they together?
Till grandmama passed away. So,
30 years.
yeah, a long time. I mean, they mind you, they were together when I was born.
Right.
Grandmama died in 91. So that in itself is 16 years there. They were together before that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, that's a difficult, that scenario. And I say that to say this because it brought me to what we were just talking about. It clicked me to something. When you have a blended family, what can never happen in that household, if all of the kids are in the household together, there should never be a show of favoritism because I went through that.
Right.
My daddy, well, one of those steps that I told you, always accepted me, never side then. It was a scenario where he came into a marriage with her. She was also a different race. He came into a relationship with her. He had me and my brother. She had a son. And there was always a play of favoritism. There was always an obvious play to her showing favoritism to hers versus us. Now, I was older, but it affected my brother.
Right.
Because we're 8 years apart.
Right.
He saw it from an infantile stage, and he saw that.
Right.
Yo, man, she playing over there like that. And the old man was so invested, so he tried to just keep the peace.
Right.
But he wasn't really like, yo, why you doing that?
Right.
Like, it was felt like he should.
Right.
So that stuck with me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So
you knew that you did not want to put
Wasn't
your
gonna
children
happen.
through that same thing.
Wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
Wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
Was never gonna make mine feel in my house like they is steps.
Right.
They're gonna feel like they're holes in here. And if I have a baby by you, and these are already in play, you got to remember one thing: they all mine. So ain't gonna be no favoritism over here versus these two over here.
Right.
We ain't playing them games. Because what's gonna end up happening, somebody gonna be on the outside looking in, and it's gonna be these 3 and me. Because they gonna always be treated as Harris, mine. And I can't do favoritism. Now, I understand favoritism in ages.
Right.
There's going to be steps here. My oldest is going to get more play than my middle. And that baby's going to get play over everybody because he's the baby until he gets to some certain stages. And you're baby. You're going to get baby treated. But until you reach that, all of them had stages as babies that they received a little more.
Right.
That is. When Jin was the oldest and Messiah was the only, Messiah got more play because he was the baby.
Right.
When Jin was the only, she got more play because she was the only. Now Legend, you heard all 3 of mine. Legend is the baby, he getting more play. Plus, certain things that come along with that. But what's not gonna happen is not gonna be any favoritism.
Right. Especially not nothing black. Like if you want that, keep the shit to yourself. I mean, we got a lot of good material out today. We might continue this conversation because there's so many layers, but it's time to wrap up the show.
Yeah, because there's a lot to it, man. Because I remember, you're gonna always reflect to your childhood and how you were treated, and how you're gonna transition it into your adulthood and how you treat them kids. And that's where it always played with us, with all of us. It's gonna play from that childhood. So when we're adults, we understood what we wasn't finna stand for. So in that scenario, that's what you recognize, what you're not gonna stand for if you give a shit.
And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. In the name of the ancestors.
That's a fact. We was just not to prolong this topic, but we was in a situation growing up where we was treated as if we were that person's kids as well, along with hers, and we never felt like we wasn't.
Yeah.
we didn't belong to her. So
Right.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's
No.
a hurtful feeling.
Mhm.
And it, like I said, I was older, but to see the pain of it in my brother,
Right.
because I was raised, you take care of your younger. You the same way with little niece. Like you're her big sister, but you're the same way with this one. You're raised with this. You're the oldest, so you're responsible. You take care of that younger sibling. So when you see a pain in your younger sibling, you immediately go into a moment like, yo, you immediately take on that defensive, like for that child. Like, I didn't like to see my little brother get a whooping. Hold on, straight up. So to see that with him, man, it hurt me. And it reminded me, like, yo, that'll never happen in my house.
Right.
No. We don't play no game. And it's understood. Like, my girl, his girl, they understand. Me and my brother, we make it known. We don't play no games with our children. You want to get on the real bad side of us, play with kids. So it's already understood. But
y'all know him, what y'all, we love the kids before everything, because
Yeah,
legacy
that right.
before all.
Legacy
and on
before
that
all.
note, watch
It's a
we
final word.
ain't gonna do the final word.
out. Do we need to? We like an hour
Yeah,
and 40
well, I
minutes
guess our
in.
final word. We got how long?
Like an hour and 30 minutes in.
Okay, so
Oh, that was a good old
We didn't really express ourselves fully, I feel, but go ahead.
final word.
Whew. Insurance, man, insurance. Just man, I got so many dang on thoughts going on, but at the end of the day, treat the next person kid like you would treat your own. Don't treat them no different.
Facts.
that's facts.
Same.
My takeaway is, man, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It's gonna always take a village. I don't give a fuck how they said things change, things evolve. It always takes a village to raise a child. Because that's where I think we've gotten away from in today's society. And in that being said, that's now the children don't give a fuck about the village. They're burning the village down. They're pillaging and burning. They're pillaging it. Yeah, they're pillaging and they're burning down the village. Because the village has turned away from raising the kid. So with that being said, what y'all?
What y'all? Oh, you have a final
What
thought?
y'all?
Yeah, just
That's Cujo, y'all. If y'all can say it.
I can't say it. Go ahead.
Nah, it's Remy. Oh, Remy.
Oh, where did he come from?
Right. He just came right through.
Just walked in. It's time to go.
I concur with everybody. That's the only right button.
What y'all?
What y'all?
Like and subscribe. Follow us.
What y'all on all social
On
media
all
platforms.
social media platforms, man. Show us the love, man. We appreciate our conversation, man. Show us in the like, show us in the subscribe, man. And
Like,
pass the
share,
word, man. Ain't
subscribe.
nothing like word of mouth, man. Let somebody know, man. Hey, man, check them people out from Chi-Town, man. They have some good information for you. So come on with. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next week.